So I had a whole bunch of these potatoes that I didn't want to go to waste. I had about 30 pounds from my neighbor, and we could not eat them fast enough. So that's when you want to do your canning. It was super simple. I believe the beans, were 90 minutes. The potatoes were 40 minutes. I think they turned out really well. I'm excited to see how they go. I'm going to get another box of jars today when I go into the grocery store. It's the only groceries I'm buying today is just canning jars. So hopefully that was helpful. And I did actually make a video of the process of canning all of these. If you're interested in homesteading, especially with animals, go check out our Etsy store for my ebooks. Thanks for popping in, and we'll talk to you later. Okay, so I think the real thing you need to ask yourself is, how much are you going to go through in a winter? Because the best way to store beans is in a 5-gallon bucket, dry. Because then you don't need jars, you don't need lids. If you want them to be light, if you want to be able to carry them around, if you want to be able to just stack them and not think about them anymore, keep them in the buckets. But for convenience food, how much are you really going to go through in a winter? As far as like when you come in, you don't have time to soak the beans, you just need to make dinner. For me, that's probably about 3 dozen jars. And that sounds like a lot, but when you think about how many meals you go through in a winter where you just need it to be convenience, it's not really that many. If you start with hot water, it takes a lot less time to cook. So start with hot water. Now, because they've already been soaked, I'm only going to cover them with hot water. I'm not going to leave extra water. And now I'm going to add salt before I put it in, salt that tastes good to me. I could add tomato sauce or something else, but since I don't know what I'd be using them for, I don't want to add a lot of spices because then I limit myself on what I can put them in. If I add Mexican seasoning, but then I want to use it just for bean soup, it's not going to taste right. So I'm just going to put salt in it once it boils. Any kind of cooking, if you put the lid on, it will come to temperature faster and you will waste less fuel that way. Never leave the room and forget that you're cooking. It's a bad idea because then you get foam everywhere. Timing, pressure, all those things are very important with canning. So you should set yourself a timer to check it and a timer for when it's done. 2 separate things. I've been in there for a little while, so I'm kind of wondering, and the reason it boiled so quick was because I did have hot water. It did go in hot. And my jars are hot, so they're ready to go. Alright, so the recipe said I need 1 inch of headspace. I do have a canning, what's it called? I have a canning funnel, which is a big deal. You want those. Remember, hot food goes into a hot jar, goes into a hot canner. No cold in there. Always use sterile new lids that have not been used before unless you're using Tadler lids in which they can be replaced, or they can be reused. Many times, whatever I'm cooking to put into the pressure canner is then what I'll just make for lunch, because that way it makes my life easier. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that back on. I'm going to add some salt and some spices, and we will just have chili for lunch. Three minutes of venting. Make sure to set a timer. Now we're going to watch this to come to pressure. Having a line on it like that, if you're always in the same altitude, is very helpful. I'm going to turn my back on this because I need to get the potatoes finished for the second batch, but I have set myself a 3-minute timer so that I cannot forget that I need to check that pressure. So I'm going to go ahead. I've got these really nice potatoes that I'm going to go ahead and peel. I have the ascorbic acid here ready to go for the potatoes so that they don't turn brown. I'm just going to peel them, and I think I'm probably going to quarter them just so that I can fit more in the jar. Big pieces take up more space than little pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and peel these. I'm going to listen and watch for that timer. Finished. I did wash these potatoes before I peeled them. You want to be careful you're not getting nasty things in your canning. I'm putting them in here, and then I'm putting my peels in the other side. The more you can streamline things, the better, because make it fast, make it efficient, and just do one, maybe two a day. Right now, I just really want to get these potatoes done, not just the beans. I do the beans for convenience, but the potatoes need to be done. The nicest thing about canning is that you can do a hot oil treatment on your hair or anything else, because it's perfect for a slow day, especially if you're doing something that is simple, something that doesn't require a lot of prep time. If you're making applesauce, you gotta get out your steamer, you have to get out your Victorio, and then you've got to add your sugar, whatever else you're adding to it. And sometimes applesauce can be a pain in the butt, even though it's just a hot pack canner. With the pressure cooker, if you're doing something that's cold pack, all you're doing is cutting it up, pouring something hot into it, and there you go. Or, no, I guess that's hot pack canning. So I'm trying to remember what we used on the chicken. We didn't use anything on the chicken. So anyway, so many different ways to use this. I am really enjoying feeling like I got a ton done in one day without it being stressful. Beans were easy. Potatoes were not as easy as beans, but they're still pretty easy. Dang it, that's not what you want.
What's the matter?
Oh, it sucked some of the juice out of the beans.
Huh.
Yeah, it did. It sucked some of the juice out. All right, I'm hearing some liquid coming out of them, which makes me want to kind of hold off a second and let them cool down a bit, because when you change the pressure inside the canner, it can suck the liquid out of your jars, and I feel like that's what happened. Even though the steam was gone, even though the pressure was gone, there was still enough pressure inside the jars themselves that it's sucking juice out of the can. So I'm going to let them go just a little bit longer. Hey Paige, try again.
Is so what does this look like?
A dog.
Yeah. So, and what does this look like?
I don't know. Didn't you have it as
A
a
jump.
glucose before?
Yeah, it's glucose, but it looks like a jump, right?
Ah, okay. It was super simple. I believe the beans, were 90 minutes. The potatoes were 40 minutes. Or maybe it was 20 minutes. I'd need to look at my book. That's why you always need to have your blue ball canning book, plus your book on how to use your pressure canner.
Want a plum? Want a plum? No, thank you. They look a little tart.
Yeah, they really do.
The way you're chewing it, plums are not supposed to be chewed like that. It looks
More like a gnaw.
Uh-huh. Yeah, plums are supposed to be juicy and sweet, and that looks. I smell it.
And the more
back.
the more that you pick them, the less nice fruit you have when they actually do get ripe. So if you'll stop chewing on them and crunching them now.
Well,
There's so many on the branch that is pulling down the branch, and I think it's gonna break
Is
it.
it? Well, that's as good an excuse as any you could make up for me. I might should still eat it, I guess.